Welcome to the deep dive. We are jumping straight into a story today that completely shatters how we think about timelines.
Oh, absolutely. Timelines, ambition, pretty much everything.
Right, and about what it actually takes to change the world. Because, I mean, think about the concept of retirement for a second. You hit 65, 66, and society has a very specific, universally accepted script for you.
You play golf, you tend to a garden, you finally rest.
Exactly. You rest after decades of grinding. But imagine hitting 66, officially retiring, taking that gold watch, and then deciding that this exact moment is the perfect time to radically change an entire nation's financial system.
And build an empire from scratch. It defies all conventional logic.
It really
Like,
does.
regarding human energy and risk tolerance, most people spend their entire adult lives trying to build something of that magnitude, just hoping they have enough youthful stamina to survive all the inevitable failures.
Mm.
But here, we're looking at someone who took on the heaviest lift of his life after his career was supposedly over, in an industry that honestly didn't even believe his idea should exist.
Which is insane. So today, we are exploring the incredible life of Hasmukhbhai Parekh, the founder of HDFC. We have an absolutely fascinating source for this. It's a highly detailed transcript from the YouTube channel Biz Talk.
Oh, it's a great breakdown of his journey.
It really is. Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to extract the ultimate blueprint for late-stage success. We're going to figure out how someone starting with absolutely nothing found the ultimate secret sauce to identify this massive, ignored societal problem.
And build an institution that fundamentally rewired the psychology of an entire country.
Yeah, literally rewired an entire culture.
Right, but to understand the sheer scale of the financial empire he eventually built, we first have to examine the extreme relatability of his starting point.
Which is so crucial.
It is. We have to go back to a place where building any kind of wealth, let alone a national institution, wasn't just unlikely, it was statistically nearly impossible. It's a total masterclass in how early struggle can be repurposed into this unbelievable competitive advantage.
So let's rewind the clock. It's March 10th, 1911. Hasmukhbhai is born in Surat, Gujarat, into a family with extremely limited resources.
Very poor.
Right. And he eventually grows up in Mumbai, living in what is known as a chawl. Now, for you listening, a chawl isn't just a small apartment. It's a cramped tenement building.
Oh, yeah. It's communal spaces, shared bathrooms, incredibly tight living quarters.
Constant noise, zero privacy. It is the absolute definition of starting from zero. And his daily routine was just brutal. I mean, he was studying during the day and working part-time at night, essentially just to survive.
And that grueling dual life, that is the absolute foundation of his character development.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he isn't sitting in a comfortable classroom learning about the theories of poverty or, the struggles of the working class. He's living it. He's breathing it.
He's in it every single day.
Exactly. He's actively fighting his way out of it. And when someone survives that level of daily friction, it fundamentally alters their relationship with risk and hard work.
That makes a lot of sense because, we always hear about the grind today. You open social media and you see people talking about hustle culture, waking up at 5 a.m. to do a cold plunge and, optimize their inbox.
Right, the modern hustle.
Right. But going from a tenement in Mumbai to the London School of Economics in that era, which he incredibly manages to do, by the way, is a completely different universe of grinding.
Oh, entirely. The stakes were literal survival.
Exactly. So how much of his later resilience, his ability to build an empire at age 66, was literally forged right there in that chawl?
Well, what's fascinating here is that this early struggle wasn't just some sad backstory to be glossed over in a biography. It was the exact training ground for his future superpower.
His financial empathy.
Yes, immense financial empathy. When you start with nothing and you have to fight for every single inch of progress, it deeply validates the concept of hard work in your own mind. You learn firsthand what the common person actually goes through.
Because he was the common person.
Exactly. He understood the anxieties of the working class and those massive, invisible barriers they faced just trying to get a little bit ahead.
Right.
The London School of Economics gave him the global macroeconomic framework. He learned the mechanics of banking and finance at the highest level there, but the chawl gave him the micro-empathy.
Wow, yeah.
It planted the seeds for his ability to see the human being behind the financial transaction.
A tenement heart paired with an LSE brain. That is a potent combination. But raw grit and empathy don't just magically build a financial institution overnight. I mean, understand the pain of the working class is one thing. Having the leverage to actually fix it is another.
Oh, completely.
So how did he translate this lived experience into a strategic advantage once he entered the professional world?
Because the source material shows he didn't just jump straight into banking.
No, he took a very deliberate, almost unconventional path to gather the tools he needed. After returning from London, he didn't immediately go to Wall Street or the Indian equivalent.
Right.
He actually started his career teaching at St. Xavier's College in Mumbai. He became an academic, which taught him how to synthesize and communicate really complex ideas.
But theory wasn't enough for him.
Right, the source notes he felt restless. He wanted to touch the real economy.
So he moves from the classroom to the trading floor. He makes a calculated shift into a stockbroking firm.
Which is a completely different world. Stockbroking exposes you to the raw, unfiltered, sometimes really ugly realities of the market. You see where the money actually flows, not just where the textbooks say it should flow.
Makes sense.
From there, he takes another massive leap and joins ICICI Limited, which is an industrial credit and investment corporation. And he climbs that ladder entirely on merit.
He goes from deputy general manager all the way up to chairman and managing director.
Which, climbing to the absolute peak of a major financial institution entirely on merit, is a massive success story on its own. He could have just taken a victory lap right there.
Easily.
But it's at the top of that ladder at ICICI where he makes this critical discovery. He's looking down at the entire financial system from the ultimate vantage point, and he notices a glaring, almost offensive contradiction.
The loan disparity.
Exactly. Banks and financial institutions were incredibly eager to hand out massive multi-million rupee loans to big industrialists and corporations. The capital was flowing freely to the people who already had capital.
Right.
But if a common middle-class person walked in and asked for a loan to buy or build a home, the doors were completely shut.
It was a structural blockade. Retail banking for the middle class essentially did not exist in a meaningful way when it came to home ownership.
Crazy.
But it wasn't just a lack of infrastructure, or a few missing bank branches. There was a much deeper psychological barrier at play in the culture.
So what does this all mean? The source mentions that at the time, taking a home loan was viewed as a fundamentally wrong decision. But hold on. If the whole culture was that averse to debt, creating a bank wouldn't solve the problem, right?
No, not at all.
If people think borrowing is morally wrong, a new bank offering home loans is just going to sit empty. He wasn't just fighting a lack of banks. He was fighting a deeply ingrained cultural mindset about debt.
How do you even begin to change that?
That is the core friction of this entire story. In that era, the cultural mindset was incredibly risk-averse. The socially accepted script, the only script, really, was that you rented a house for your entire working life.
Wow.
You saved every single penny you could, and only after you retired using your life savings and retirement funds would you finally build or buy a house.
So late in life.
Yeah, taking on debt wasn't just seen as risky, it was stigmatized. It was viewed as living beyond your means, like an almost reckless moral failing. To borrow money meant you had failed to save. Spending your entire prime, your family's formative years, living in a cramped rental, just hoping you live long enough to enjoy a home you own in your late 60s. That is heartbreaking when you think about all that trapped potential.
It is. And this is exactly where Parekh's secret sauce comes into full effect. His secret sauce wasn't a single skill. It was the synthesis of his entire life.
Everything coming together.
Exactly. The academic rigor from teaching, the market mechanics from stockbroking, the institutional power from ICICI, and most importantly, that deeply rooted empathy from the Chal.
Right.
He understood that the middle class deeply wanted security and ownership, but they were trapped by a system that catered only to the elite and a culture that actively shamed them for wanting leverage.
You saw right through it.
He realized that the cultural aversion to debt wasn't actually a moral stance. It was a trauma response to predatory lending and a lack of trustworthy institutions.
So if the system is designed to crush you, of course you fear debt. He saw that if he could provide genuine institutional, trust-like, structured, transparent, fair loans, he could dissolve the cultural shame. He could show them that leverage isn't a moral failing, it's a tool for building a life.
He saw the matrix of the Indian economy. He knew the demand was there, hidden beneath all those layers of cultural anxiety. But discovering a massive systemic flaw is one thing. Actually taking on the burden of fixing it, especially at the stage of life he was in, is where the story shifts from impressive to legendary.
Yeah, because in 1976, Hasmukhbhai Parekh retires from ICICI.
Yeah.
He is 66 years old, he has the money, he has the prestige, he has every reason to just walk away.
Most people at 66, even the most ambitious executives, are focused on legacy preservation, not industry disruption.
Right.
The physical and mental toll of starting a highly regulated financial institution from scratch is terrifying for a 30-year-old with boundless energy.
Let alone someone at retirement age. And here's where it gets really interesting. He doesn't preserve, he builds. In 1977, he takes the single biggest step of his life. He founds the Housing Development Finance Corporation, what we now know as HDFC.
HDFC, yeah.
And the source makes a crucial point to emphasize this. He did it with zero government help. No state backing, no national safety net. Just a 66-year-old man with an unshakable vision that every single Indian should have the opportunity to own their own home.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the ultimate masterclass in resilience. I mean, think about the mechanics of what he had to pull off. He is walking into a market that doesn't believe his product should exist,
Yeah.
trying to raise capital for a business model that goes against the cultural grain, all without the safety of government backing. He had to leverage every ounce of credibility he had built over decades at ICICI just to get people to listen to his thesis.
It's wild.
It is a profound testament to the idea that age truly is just a number when you are driven by a purpose larger than yourself.
It is the ultimate validation of hope. If you're listening to this right now and feeling like you've missed your window or you're too late to pivot careers or your big idea is just too daunting, picture Hasmukhbhai at 66.
Sitting at a desk somewhere.
Just sitting there filling out endless regulatory paperwork to start a mortgage company in a country that actively fears mortgages. And he actually pulls it off. In 1978, HDFC gives its very first home loan to a customer in Mumbai. The transcript calls this a new beginning for the Indian middle class, and it really was. It wasn't just a financial transaction, it was permission to dream differently.
It was a massive behavioral catalyst. He didn't just open a bank, he proved a concept. Once that first domino fell and people saw that a trusted, transparent institution was actually backing this, the cultural stigma began to evaporate.
The fear went away.
Slowly, but yes. Home loans gained acceptance. By providing a structured, organized way to borrow, where the math actually made sense for a middle-class salary, he unlocked decades of trapped economic potential. People could suddenly build equity in their 30s instead of their 60s.
And the validation of his theory is immediate and explosive. By 1984, just a few years into this experiment, the company was giving out over 100 crore in loans annually.
That's massive.
That translates to countless families moving into homes they actually owned decades earlier than they previously thought possible. The ripple effect on those families, on their children, is just immeasurable.
It is a phenomenal milestone. But what is even more staggering is how that successful, specialized mortgage company eventually morphs into a foundational, untouchable pillar of the entire national economy. The scale of this legacy goes from an impressive startup to something almost incomprehensible.
Let's break down that transformation, because this is where the sheer scope of his vision takes over. During this journey, his nephew, Deepak Parekh, joins the company and brings a new wave of energy, really helping take HDFC to entirely new heights.
A crucial addition.
Absolutely. Then we hit the 1990s. The Indian banking sector starts to open up and modernize. HDFC jumps at the opportunity. They don't just stick to mortgages. They meet all the rigorous standards and secure a universal banking license in 1994. This is the birth of HDFC Bank.
Right, and HDFC Bank doesn't just participate in this newly opened market, it comes to absolutely dominate it. It quickly becomes the country's most trusted private bank.
Dominate is the right word.
They build a massive network, accumulating millions of customers and opening thousands of branches. They take that original secret sauce of trust and empathy, and they apply it to everyday banking.
And the regulatory bodies take notice of how massive they've become. The Reserve Bank of India, the central bank, eventually designates HDFC as a DSIB. Now, for you listening, DSIB stands for Domestic Systemically Important Bank. In plain English, that essentially means too big to fail.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means.
They are put on the same elite, highly monitored list as massive state-run giants.
To really understand what a DSIB is, think of it like the root system of an ancient, massive redwood tree. It isn't just standing in the forest. Its roots are so deeply intertwined with the soil and with the roots of all the other trees that if you try to pull it up, the entire forest floor collapses.
Wow, that's a great way to picture it.
A DSIB is so fundamentally baked into the economy that it doesn't just hold money. It holds the structural trust that keeps the rest of the market from panicking.
Imagine starting a niche mortgage business in your late 60s, and decades later, it becomes a literal redwood tree holding up the national economy.
It's hard to fathom.
The source highlights a recent event that perfectly illustrates this unbelievable power. A little while ago, the chairman, Atanu Chakraborty, stepped down. This wasn't some massive scandal, it was just an executive resignation.
Right, standard corporate stuff.
But because HDFC is so foundational, share prices dropped, market panic ensued, and the situation grew so tense that the actual government and the central bank had to step in and issue statements to calm the nation down.
This raises an important question about the nature of legacy and validation. When you build something that large, you are no longer just running a corporation. You are managing a structural component of a nation's stability.
You are part of the state almost.
Exactly. The fact that the government had to intervene over an executive reshuffle shows you exactly how deeply HDFC is woven into the fabric of everyday life. And it all culminates in 2023 with the massive mega merger of HDFC Ltd and HDFC Bank.
Creating an absolute financial titan. The market cap of this merged entity reached levels that are difficult to even visualize. It's equivalent to tens of billions of dollars, making it one of the largest and most valuable financial institutions on the entire planet.
We have to tie this massive global-scale corporate victory all the way back to the very beginning. The man who grew up in a cramped, resource-starved chawl, who had to study by whatever light he could find while working nights, built the exact economic engine that allowed millions of people to escape the cycle of renting.
It's poetic.
It really is. He experienced the pain of poverty, and he used it to architect a system of national stability.
It's an unbelievable arc of character transformation. From the Mumbai chawl to studying in London to navigating the trading floors, climbing the corporate ladder purely on merit, retiring at 66 and then looking at the world and deciding, you know what? I'm not going to play golf. I'm going to invent the modern Indian middle class instead.
It proves that the system is never too broken to be fixed, and you are never too old to be the one to fix it. If you take anything away from this deep dive, let it be that the true secret sauce isn't a morning routine, a life hack, or having the right connections.
No.
It is the absolute refusal to accept the way things have always been done. It's looking at a cultural taboo, like the fear of debt, recognizing that it is actively harming people, and having the sheer resilience to build an alternative reality, even if you're the only one who sees it at first.
Hasmukhbhai Parekh looked at an entire society that accepted renting for life as normal, and he decided to invent an entirely new reality. He didn't just change banking. He changed what people believed they were allowed to have.
Oh, beautifully put.
So, as we wrap up today, I want you to look around your own life, your own industry, your own community. What impossible problem or perfectly normal struggle are you just blindly accepting right now simply because no one has had the courage to build the solution yet? The script of your life and your career isn't written until you decide to stop writing. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.